Hello and welcome to another Desi Gora Gupshup show. Joining me as usual, my Desi Gora friend Tom Jones. Good evening, Tom.
Evening, Masood. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. A lot better now that we're back to 1-1. A fantastic game today.
Yeah, it was a great game, wasn't it? As well, if you're an England fan, absolutely a great game. I think the Australian dressing room will be absolutely kicking themselves though.
How did Australia manage to lose that? I mean, or was it? I think it was tactically fantastic bowling by England, really.
Yeah, it was, but it was all or nothing, as I think the commentator said at the time. Shane Warne was talking about putting all of his poker chips in, Owen Morgan, and then Archer and Wokes just bowled fabulously well, and you seem to tear the middle heart or middle order out of Australia, and they couldn't really find a response.
In terms of the England batted first and didn't get a big score today. There was quite a more or less struggle. I mean, I have to admit I was in the garden doing some gardening, cutting the grass. Then I had to do the shed, clean out that. So I missed most of
Yeah,
England's
okay,
batting.
okay. We get the picture. We get the picture.
I have to say, Benny, after I was hoping you'd get the violin out for me and support me, mate.
Mm, No, you're not going to get any of that sympathy from me. Yeah, I think they would have been very disappointed with the score they got, but I think they were pleased that they chose to bat first because they knew that they would get some degree of control in the second innings. I think if it hadn't been for Rashid and Tom Curran, though, I don't think they'd have got anywhere near the runs they needed to defend. So that last wicket partnership or ninth wicket partnership was probably pivotal to the outcome of the game.
It's interesting that we were talking about Rashid in the last chat, that
Yeah,
he hasn't batted at all. I said I was really disappointed with his batting. Then he turns up and performs today.
yeah, I said that to Charlie actually because it reminded me of our conversation last time. I think possibly when it was almost like pressure was off because at that stage when he came in, England looked as though they were going to barely get to 200. So he just opened his shoulders and played a few shots, which is his game. And I think Tom Curran, hitting down the ground over the bowler's head, just gave Rashid a little bit of free license to do the same. So it wasn't like he was playing totally carefree, but it was very much a kind of open your shoulders and go for your shots type of innings, and it paid off. Australia did not bowl well to him and to Curran though.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they did, the score 231 was a pretty good score at the end for England.
Well, it ended up being a good score, but I still think they felt that they wanted to get 260, something like that. But in the end, once Labuschagne was out to a review, which was a very good review by England, and then Finch fell very quickly after that. The Australians just did not bat well at all, and England bowled well. And even though Owen Morgan had played his trump cards, and which meant that neither Archer or Wokes had any overs left at the end, he rotated the two Curran brothers really well, and Rashid then got the final wicket. Job done.
Yeah, it was interesting that at 142, Australia were really cruising. They were only, was it two out at the time? And then
Yeah,
within space of a few
42, yeah.
balls, it was just basically six out. You know, Archer picked up the wickets, and Chris Wokes was just the both were on fire. I mean, we've been saying that Archer has been blowing hot and cold this year, but he was bowling really, really quick in that period.
Well, he bowled exceptionally quickly in his first spell, which got Warner and Stoinis both out, just beaten by pace and bounce and movement off the seam. But I still think that Wokes deserved more credit than Archer. I know Archer's got the X factor and all the rest of it, but Wokes got three wickets in that middle section when he only had 3 overs left, and that for me got England over the line.
Yeah, and I think in the end, like you said, Morgan really, really managed the last few overs without the two of his, strike bowlers or the X factor bowlers that probably would have bowled at the death.
Yeah, and there were all the commentators were lavishing praise on Owen Morgan for his captaincy, which I always listen to Shane Warne when he talks about captaincy, because I think he was one of the best and probably most underrated first class and one day captain that Australia never had as a Test captain. And I think he really still thinks very, very well about the game. And he was very complimentary of Morgan. But Morgan's very modest, very humble, very grounded. And, in his post-match interview, he just said, well, the standard of bowling made captaincy a lot easier than it needed to be. And that's just typical of him. I think he's very selfless when praise comes his way. And he's very responsible when criticism comes his way. So he's a good guy, Morgan.
It was interesting that Rashid went for a few runs today and did actually manage to get the last wicket.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be bothered about going for a few runs. I think he'll be made up that he contributed with the bat and then got the wicket, the all-important last wicket that got England the win. They did seem to try and attack him earlier, but I still feel as though they are not spotting his googly, and he gets as much turn from his googly as he does from his genuine stock ball leg break. So I don't think he'll be bothered in the slightest. I don't think England will be bothered. I think he's still a real strong bowler and wicket taker.
Well, Alex Carey was it. He was trying to target at the end, wasn't he? But it was interesting that I think they went for about 17 overs without scoring a boundary. That is unlike the Aussies, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah. And as Charlie again was watching it with me, and he said it's like watching you bat, Dad, watching Alex Carey. But I think Carey was in for something like, he'd been in for 13 or 14 overs. Obviously, seeing a lot of wickets fall at the other end, which adds pressure. And he only got 17 runs or something. And yes, he increased his strike rate towards the end, but it was too little, too late. And Rashid had his man with Butler stumping him.
Yeah, they were saying that had it been Butler or Stokes at the end with the tail, they would have managed that hell of a lot better. And I think maybe he's not been in the game that long, has he? So he probably is on a learning curve as well. So that's probably the reason why he wasn't that good at the end.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think the Australian management team will be criticising or be too critical of Carey. I think he's not as experienced as a Stokes or a Butler, for example, as you say. He's also out of form with the bat, and they've not played for so long. I think where they'll be really, really disappointed is Finch and Labuschagne getting out when they did. But equally, I think absolutely it is right to point out that they didn't get themselves out, as Stuart Broad mentioned. They were bowled out by very skillful deliveries from Wokes and from Archer.
Yeah, that was, the one that got Finch out, absolutely fantastic. And the other one as well, you're right. Archer's beautiful bowling. When you knock the stumps out, he hit the stumps, the bowler has to be really good, and it does beat the batsman. And not, it's actually bowler skills, not the batsman throwing their wicket away or losing their head.
Yeah, and actually thinking about it, I think I'm right that Wokes got Labuschagne out LBW. That was the third wicket, and then he also got Finch out because Archer got Marsh out. So it's, again, for me, the two strongest batsmen who were in were dismissed by Wokes, and yet Archer gets the plaudits and the man of the match. So for me, that was the wrong decision. But he's the X factor one, isn't he?
Yeah, it's the golden boy at the moment of English cricket, isn't he? Well, may well continue, and it's 1-1 now.
Yeah, 1-1 going to the final one-day international, which is at same venue, Old Trafford, on Wednesday. I think it's a lunchtime, kind of 1 o'clock start, so it'll finish, I don't know, probably 7 o'clock. So there will still be some decision making to be made about who's going to bat first, etc. But yeah, everything to play for, and still my 2-1 prediction is on the cards either way, which is far better than my football predictions.
Hey, I got better than you with some of the football predictions. I got 2 right at least.
Yeah, I think I got 2 right, but I didn't get any others right. I got Liverpool to beat Leeds in a scoring, but Leeds to score, and I got Arsenal to beat Fulham. I think they were the only 2 I got right.
Well, I said Arsenal would win 3-0. Which they did. I said Newcastle would win 2-0, got that right, and said Leicester would win, and they did. They got they won as well, so I got a few right. We went for a draw at it was Southampton Palace, but that was the Palace win, and
Yeah.
also I got the other one right as well, Everton, Tottenham.
Yeah, well, I didn't see the game, but Sharon and Edward watched it, obviously, with vested interest. And both of them actually said that Everton looks a very, very different team with the new signings, and much more positive, much more energetic, and a whole different kind of character to their side. So that bodes well for the Blue Noses.
My worst predictions have been the cricket ones, haven't they?
Oh yeah, your cricket ones have been absolutely bloody hopeless. Yeah.
It seems I don't know nothing about the game, man. I just watch it for the fun. I'm just an ordinary, fan. I've got no idea about the game. I just watch it for the fun of it and just talk about it. Talk a lot of rubbish, as you keep telling me.
It's nice of you to finally admit that to your adoring public.
Yes. I mean, the one that was the best game at the weekend was the Liverpool Leeds game. I think most people have been surprised how good Leeds are, and how well they played yesterday. But I've been saying that for the last 2 years since V Aussies took over at Leeds. That's the kind of football they play, and they were really unlucky with the penalties, really.
Well, I'm not here to talk too much about Liverpool, Leeds, and penalties and so on, Masood. But I do think that Leeds will entertain, all the TV watching football fans up and down the country this year. Whoever they support, I think they'll be very, very entertaining going forward. I think they will concede goals, but I don't think that'll bother the manager. I think he wants to play with a certain style and flair, and I think he's got a team that will do that for him.
And talking about fans watching it on TV, I think it's still sad that these games of cricket games that we've had so far, absolutely fantastic, riveting, and it's been brilliant. Test cricket has been brilliant. The T20s have been fantastic, and the one days, and it's really, really sad that we've got no fans at the ground, and just sad, really sad.
Yeah, it is very, very sad, and again, a lot of credit should be given to the players for being able to put on such a high standard of cricket, despite the fact that there's no atmosphere in the grounds at all. I was talking to a friend today at our cricket match, and he was saying that he believes that as we talk here today, that there are plans for crowds to be allowed in the latter stages of the IPL.
Oh, that'd be
right.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one, but that'd be interesting. But I don't know whether there will be any crowds at IPL because it's being played in Dubai, and usually most people don't bother with cricket unless it's a Friday, or if it's India Pakistan. So I don't know what kind of response there'll be. But that's coming up next. Starts on Saturday 19th, so be ready for that, lad.
Yeah, no, it'd be good. It's definitely. I probably wouldn't be as kind of interested in it if the domestic cricket season in the UK had finished at normal time. But because obviously everything's been shoved back, I am really looking forward to it. And, I guess from what I understand, that it isn't just going to be, Chennai Super Kings dominating. I think there's going to be 2 or 3 other franchises who are going to be pretty competitive this year. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that.
Yeah, that should be an exciting IPL. And Wednesday, so you're still sticking 2-1 to England?
Well, either way, I win, don't I?
Yes. Either way, you win. I'll probably say England 2-1. And on that note, we shall say good night and thank you to you. And we shall be back on Wednesday evening after the third and the final game of this series. The best team wins.